When thinking about international relations, we need to think about which level of analysis to use. Traditionally, IR analyzes at the state level. This course mainly uses the regional level, but we'll also explore at the global level. Globalization is a term that is used often, but is not well defined. The literature on it is vast and comes from a diverse range of views, for example, from sociologists, geographers, political scientists, and economists. But if carefully defined, globalization can be useful to describe a group of transnational processes which are happening since the 1960s. It is also useful to compare globalization to regionalism, and it helps us to see how these two levels of analysis interact. Globalization has distinctive economic and political aspects which are connected. There is a lot of debate about when globalization began and how extensive it is. However, there is generally agreement on some aspects. It started under American hegemony after World War II. It created an open, liberal economic order that encouraged economic integration across borders. It is also known as the Bretton Woods regime, and its institutions, such as the IMF, the World Bank, and GATT, which became the WTO, encouraged the development of international money markets, cross-border trade and investment, and the restructuring of cross-border corporate activities. It also created a normative policy agenda which became associated with liberalism. Historically, East Asia has been unenthusiastic about the neoliberal agenda of liberalization, deregulation, and minimal government. This caused friction between the US and East Asia, and shows the politically contested nature of globalization. However, underneath, there is a process of economic change which interacts with political ideas. This is what forms the international order. East Asia's interactions with the West have changed its political structures and social relations. There are debates about whether East Asia is converging on, or becoming more alike, or diverging, becoming more different, from Western systems. These debates concern the amount of state intervention in the economy. However, what is more important is that states that used to be feudal or socialist or communist have now adopted some form of capitalism. Economic development after World War II has been uneven and contradictory in different countries. One of the most important aspects has been how the organization and structures of multinational corporations have changed. There is no such thing as a typical MNC. They are all different depending on their sector. It is now possible to break up the production process and locate different parts of it in different places, depending on their value and specific advantages. Therefore, different regions will be integrated into the global economy in different ways, depending on their attraction for MNCs. But MNCs still often display a distinct national identity. Because of globalization, there is competitive pressure on MNCs to adopt international best practice. But they still often display distinctive local characteristics. The major Northeast Asian countries still display different local characteristics, so it is unlikely they will rapidly converge on Western systems. Different countries are attractive as investment locations for MNCs, not only because of natural resources or cheap labour, but also because of specific regulations. As the EU shows, these kinds of regulatory environments can be brought together at a regional level, not just a national level. If governments' abilities to act effectively are constrained by globalization, they might try to act together with regional partners in order to try to regain authority.